In the morning, Dokja is spinning when the system notifies him that the constellation, the demonic judge of fire, urges him to look after his incarnation. Dokja stretches and thinks that he must have dozed off. The system notifies that the constellation, prisoner of the golden headband, laughs heartily at his decision. Some constellations consider his behavior cocky, and many constellations are intrigued by his decision. Dokja looks at the screen and thinks that some constellations won't leave him alone ever since he announced that he would be Shin's supporting constellation. Dokja thinks that he called it a supporting constellation, but there's no way he can be one since he doesn't even have his own fable yet. He asks how he can call himself a supporting constellation when he doesn't even have a stigma he can lend her. But he does have more coins than most historical constellations. Dokja gets up, and the system notifies him that the constellation, the secretive plotter, is watching him with great interest, and he has been gifted 1,000 coins. Dokja thought that the secretive plotter was a historical constellation when he first saw his nickname, but the amount of money he spends and his laid-back manner tell him that he is a fabled constellation, at the very least. He can't find anything about him in TWSA. Dokja wonders if he is from another world. He looks up from the screen and sees that Shin is practicing with a little monster. Dokja asks her if she has slept, and she replies that she has not yet. Dokja tells her that she will be penalized if she doesn't get any SP, so she should get some SP first. Shin tells him to let her practice a little more. The system notifies that the character Shin has activated the skill interspecies, communication level 8 and taming level 7. She is trying to control the monster as a hand emerges from her aura. The monster starts growling at her, and the system notifies them that the taming has failed and the monster has begun rampaging. At the same time, a knife strikes the monster and kills it. Xiong says that it is so loud as she throws the knife after waking up from her SP. Dokja thinks that since last night, Shin has been practicing to advance her skill level. He tells the system to activate the character profile, which is just the summary. The system displays her information on the screen. Her full name is Yusing Shin, and her personal attributes are Beast Tamer and Introspective Killer. Personal skills include Taming level 7, Interspecies Communication level 8, Agile Feat level 8, and Interspecies Friendship level 6. Overall stats include Stamina at level 19, Strength at level 14, Dexterity at level 44, and Mana at level 45. The character is currently using Growth Package 1 and Growth Package 2, and the character is currently using a new scenario package. Dokja thinks that her skills have increased drastically with the 2 growth packages. He is sure she is the only incarnation in Korea receiving this much support. He thinks that she has an innate talent, so her interspecies communication skills will soon reach level 10 and evolve into advanced interspecies communication. But the problem is that she can't even take a grade 8 monster with stats like that. Shin tells Dokja that she doesn't think she has any talent. Dokja pats her on the head and says that is not true, she has more than enough talent. Dokja thinks that she probably can't use her power because of the trauma she suffered. Dokja asks her if there is something on her mind, and Shin replies that she is scared. Dokja tells her that the monsters are not the same as pets, and Shin says that she knows. Dokja tells her that she can make a wish come true when she clears all the scenarios. Shin tells Dokja that his nostrils get bigger when he lies. Dokja thinks that Gil-young said the same thing to him. Shin asks Dokja if she will be okay. Dokja says that he chose her over Soul, and he doesn't regret it at all. Shin stares at Dokja's face and says that if she ever becomes strong, she quickly turns around and says that it is nothing. She's going to try practicing again. Dokja wonders what it is and says that he has a bad feeling about it. Dokja suddenly realizes that now that he comes to think of it, in TWSA, Shin is obsessed with Yusing. She is her biggest fan. Dokja thinks that being too young, she wants to be the heroine of the story. She is more like a little sister who tagged along. Dokja is worried and wonders if she would leave him for Yusing after everything he has done to help her. Dokja rushes to Xiong. She is yawning and tells Dokja not to talk to her. Dokja asks her how long she's going to keep this up and says that he wants to ask her something. Dokja asks Xiong how good-looking she thinks he is compared to Yusing. Xiong asks Dokja why he would even ask such a thing, and Dokja says that he is genuinely curious. Dokja thinks that since graduating high school, he has never had any interest in the way he looked. But from the reactions of people he has met recently, it seems that they don't think he is all that good-looking. The few times that he has taken bathroom selfies, He doesn't think he looked that bad. The system notifies Dokja that a constellation who loves to flirt looks at him pitifully. Xiong gets up and tells Dokja to just accept it. All she can do for him is to give him her sympathy. Dokja says that he wasn't looking to be consoled. He was just curious. Dokja looks at Shin and thinks that no matter what happens, he can't have her meet Yusing. She's the incarnation that he has raised. After some time, everyone finished eating their food, and S started praying. Dokja asked her if she was religious, and S told him that she didn't have a religion. Dokja asked why she was praying. S started smiling and said that she was paying the gods of Olympus. Dokja said that makes sense as Shin started yawning. Dokja looked at her and said that Xiong and he will stand guard tonight. He told Shin and S to get some SP. Dokja thought that he had hunted the monsters in the vicinity throughout the day to earn coins, and he had invested the coins he had earned in increasing Shin's agility and mana. Thanks to that, she was able to obtain advanced interspecies communication, but she still hadn't successfully managed to use timing. Dokja looked at her while spinning and thought that in order to seal away that power of hers, she needs to advance as quickly as possible. Xiong is using her mobile while sitting in a corner. She tells Dokja that he should SP too. Dokja wonders why she is so distant. He thinks that they used to be enemies, and Xiong and S's stances on many things are the exact opposite of each other. The system notifies Dokja that someone has defeated the catastrophe of ice that has awakened in the west. Dokja thinks that Yusing must have managed to fight it off. He thinks that Yusing should have teamed up with Hong too. Dokja thinks that everything is going according to the plan. Xiong tells Dokja that there is something she wants to ask him, and Dokja tells her that she is ugly. Xiong is annoyed and says that is not what she wants to ask him. Dokja asks her what it is as he sits on the ground. Xiong asks Dokja what it is that he's trying to do and what his goal is. She just doesn't get it. She tells him that he destroyed the throne and even let Shin lie. She asks Dokja to tell her what it is that he's trying to do. Dokja remains silent for a while and then says that there's an ending he wants to see. Xiong says that she also had an ending she wanted to write. Dokja asks if it's in her novel, and she replies yes. Dokja tells Xiong to let him ask her something too. He asks why she plagiarized when she's not a bad writer. Xiong is annoyed at Dokja and says that she told him she didn't plagiarize anything. She says that Dokja holds TWSA in high regard, but many elements of TWSA were taken from other novels too. She asks, isn't it harder to find a novel these days that doesn't have stuff like that? Dokja tells her that hers is a problem because it is the most similar to TWSA. Xiong says there's a reason for that and asks if Dokja wants to hear a story. Xiong says, once upon a time, there was this poor little girl. Dokja interrupts her and says that if this is a story about a poor girl who used to love to write but gave up on her dreams and resorted to plagiarism to make ends meet, then no thanks. Xiong asks Dokja if he can read minds. Dokja starts laughing and says that he is not a god or anything. If he could do something like that, then he wouldn't be in this mess right now. The system notifies Dokja that the character Xiong is using the skill Lie Detection Level 3, and she has confirmed that he is telling the truth. Xiong tells Dokja that if he can read minds, then try reading her mind right now. Dokja looks away and says that he can't. Xiong tells him that she hasn't plagiarized anything, and the system notifies Dokja that she is telling the truth. Xiong says that she read TWSA, but it was a coincidence that her novel turned out so similar. She says that she was only transcribing her dreams, and Dokja is shocked to hear that. The system notifies Dokja that she is telling the truth. Dokja wonders if she is using her subconsciousness to defend herself from the accusation of plagiarism. Dokja is annoyed at her and says that she read TWSA, which is how she dreamed about it. Xiong says that may be true, but lately she has been thinking that this reality is based on a novel, and if she is only a recreation of that novel, then maybe her existence itself is plagiarized. Dokja says that she must be trying to gloss over this issue with that nonsense. Xiong says that it is just a thought she had. Dokja thinks that he has actually thought of the same thing himself. He thinks it has crossed his mind ever since TWSA became a reality. He wonders if the novel overlaps with their reality or if reality is turning into the novel. Dokja puts his hand on his head and tells Xiong that they should swap shifts. Dokja tells her to SP first. He tells her that if she keeps spewing confusing stuff like that, they will lose constellations on their channel. Xiong tells Dokja that she has been getting fewer coins from them since she joined him. Xiong shows Dokja her tongue. Dokja thinks that it is comforting to have her around, and he is relieved to know that he's not the only one who knows that this world is a work of fiction. It is stately comforting. Dokja gets SP all of a sudden, and he dozes off. After some time, Dokja opens his eyes and suddenly gets up. He wonders when she fell asleep, and he tells Xiong that he will stand guard now so she can SP. Dokja is shocked to see that Xiong is lying dead on the floor. Dokja checks her pulse. Sangha wakes up and sees that Dokja is checking Xiong's pulse. Sangha runs towards him and asks what happened. Dokja says that she is not breathing. Dokja wonders if he is in shock right now because Xiong is dead. Sangha starts checking her dead body and says that she doesn't see any wounds. Dokja wonders if she has been poisoned. He asks how everyone else is okay when the poison is used. Sangha says that she is sorry. She must have slept too much. Dokja asks if she has been asleep this whole time, and she replies yes. Dokja looks at Shin and thinks that it would mean that none of them did guard last night. He thinks that everyone else fell asleep too when he did, and wonders why he suddenly fell asleep. Dokja looks at the bones and picks up the plate. Dokja thinks that this dust is the stem of Yansa. Dokja asks SGA who cooked their meal last night, and she says that it was Xiong. Dokja stands up and she says that she fooled them. This is one of her avatars. Dokja wonders why she would pull a prank like this. Dokja looks at their contract and thinks that she shouldn't be able to leave due to her temporary pledge. Dokja sees something appearing from the avatar's chest. He brings out his sword and stabs the avatar. Dokja thinks that avatar ARS don't perish unless their heads are destroyed. The system notifies Dokja that the avatar of the character Xiong is suffering for violating the pledge, and Xiong has nullified most of the penalties that come from the temporary pledge by sacrificing her avatar. Dokja thinks that he didn't know that her avatars could be used like this. Shin asks if she is gone, and Dokja says that he guesses so. Dokja thinks that it doesn't matter how many times he asks. The truth is that Xiong has nothing to gain from being with him. The avatar disappears, leaving a note for Dokja that says, "For your troubles." Dokja looks at the note and thinks that if she could sacrifice her avatar to leave him, he wonders why she has stayed with him all this time. Dokja crumples the paper and says that he just can't figure it out. Dokja tells everyone that they should get going too. In the morning, Xiong is using her mobile on top of a building and says that Dokja is an idiot. She asks if she shouldn't at least pretend to look for her. Xiong looks at Dokja walking on the footpath and says that she is sure they will cross paths again. She writes that there's no telling whether they will meet again as friends or enemies. After some time, Shin sits down and there is a yellow screen in front of her. Dokja kneels down and tells her that he doesn't have a stigma and can't lend her any powers like the constellations can, but he does have a lot of coins. Dokja tells her that she doesn't have to sign the support contract if she doesn't want to, but if she does, then she will not regret it. Shin asks if she signs this, would she not be able to sign with any other constellations? Dokja nods his head and tells her not to worry. He won't meddle in her affairs like the other constellations. Shin says that she will do it because she has decided to trust him anyway. Dokja is surprised to hear that. The system notifies Dokja that the support contract has been agreed upon and that he has become the supporter of the incarnation Shin. The system notifies Dokja that he is not a constellation, so he can't use most of the powers that are available to other supporting constellations. Dokja puts his hand on Shin's head and says that he expected that much. This must be it for now. The system displays that the available powers are support incarnation and encourage incarnation. The system notifies that the constellation prisoner of the golden headband smirked, and the secretive plotter congratulated Dokja on his first support contract. Many constellations wanted to become his supporting constellations, and Dokja was gifted 5,000 coins. Dokja looks at the screen, and he thinks that he is an incarnation that has another incarnation, even though he is not a constellation yet. He thinks that if he signs a contract with a constellation, then that constellation will also have Shin under their influence. Dokja thinks that the more incarnations he brings under his support, the more constellations that want to support him will rise. Chunghyuk looks at the screen, and he's excited that his channel is bursting with viewers. Dokja comes out of the building and says that it is time to cross the river. Han asks if that would be okay, because they haven't found a bridge yet. Dokja says that they will swim across the river. There are numerous monsters in the river. Dokja jumps into the river with Shin and Han. Shin is holding a boulder, and Dokja is holding the rope tied to a boulder in his hand. Han wonders if he is sure that they are going to be all right. Dokja says that they will get out as soon as it becomes dangerous. Dokja tells Han to act as if they are in danger before the real danger strikes. Fonga is surprised to hear that Dokja thinks that way. Shin will be able to unleash her innate powers much faster, so he tells Han to make it look like they are in a dangerous situation. Dokja thinks that there's no way a regular girl can survive until the 5th scenario. She may look like a naive girl, But her character isn't that simple. From the moment they first met, she probably already scrutinized all of her options. Doksha tells Shin not to run because if she runs now, she'll never be able to go back. He tells her to do whatever she can. Shin says okay and closes her eyes. The system notifies that Shin has activated Advanced Interspecies Communications Level 3. Han shouts at Dokja because a monster is about to bite him. Thanks for watching. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated. And hey, drop a comment if you have thoughts or new ideas or just want to say hi. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and stay awesome.